everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today I have with me Mr. Jeff Martin, all the way from Canada. That's the beauty of this show. I get to talk to people all over the world. But he is a speaker, a coach, and author of the book, or co-author of the book, I should say, 10 Men, 10 Stories of Perseverance, and a whole host of other things that I am going to try to pack in 30 minutes. So please bear with me as I roller coaster through this. But first and foremost, like I always say, thank you for your time. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's a gift that you can't get back. So I truly appreciate you giving me this portion of your day today. So thank you.
Oh, man, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to speak to you today and just get a chance to really speak to your audience. And, hopefully I can, shed some light on some stuff and just really help anyone who's listening to grow, to become the best version of them and really give the world, the gift that they were born with.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, you and I don't know each other. I tell people all the time, I turn on this camera and this is two strangers. So I'm just going to start this off and stir the pot right away. So this is going to really determine how our friendship is going to go. But I am talking to you today as a Black person in the United States, and you are a Black person in Canada.
Yes.
And sometimes I find that we have misperceptions due to the media. We perceive things wrong. So I want to state a question or give a scenario. Now, I know better because I've traveled. I know better. But there's people here in the United States, especially Black people, who have an image of Canada as this friendly, everybody gets along, and you guys just, eat maple syrup all day, right?
Yes.
But I know better. But I want to give a hypothetical situation.
Yes.
To you as a Black person in the United States. And I want to say to you, you Blacks in Canada, you can't feel our pain. You don't know our struggle. We have been going through this for 500 years, dealing with this racism, and we have discrimination in housing and education. You brothers over there, you brothers and sisters over there, that you can't understand our struggle. You don't know what we're going through. What would you say to that?
I would say if you believe that Black folks in Canada are not going through the struggle, then you are not doing your own due diligence. If you do your research, you will find that people of color all over the world have had their own share of issues. Mm-hmm. While you, and I say you, but my friends in the US celebrate Rosa Parks, we celebrate Viola Desmond. In 1946 was a Black woman who tried to go see a movie at a movie theater, and she found herself kicked out because she was sitting in the bottom level and Black people were only allowed to sit at the top. Oh, great. If you believe that there was no slavery in Canada, then again, you were wrong, because although slavery existed in the United States for in and around 400 years, slavery existed in Canada for 200 years. In fact, our last segregated school that Black children had to go to because they weren't allowed to go to school with white children closed 37 years ago.
Wow, awesome.
So some of you are in and around 37 years old. So
I'm older than that.
There you go. I hear you. So it gives you an opportunity to put things into perspective, that we have our issues, that statistics have shown that Black folks have been pulled over more often than any other color within the Toronto in the greater Toronto area. And again, problems continue to arise. So we too are in the struggle. Yes. We too are in have our problems or share problems. And I believe it's collectively that we come together to make this fight, to make this happen, so we can leave a better world for our children.
Great point. Because as I move around in the United States, and I'm pretty sure you have it there, we have clusters of us who don't really get out and explore the world. So you tend to think that your problems are exclusive to you. So I think it's very important for us to understand that my struggle here is also my brothers and sisters' struggle everywhere in this world. So I'm glad that you pointed it out. And Viola, if I remember correctly, you guys put her on a stamp. Isn't she on a stamp there?
She's on a $10 bill.
Oh,
which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm telling you, when that came out, I want to say it's about 2 years ago now. When that came out, everybody, rejoiced, because it just shows that she was recognized for her resiliency. If she didn't push, if she didn't shove, just like Rosa Parks, if she didn't push and shove, then we potentially would not see the change that we see today. And so the fact that the Canadian government, they actually apologized to her family. They cleared her name. Yeah, she was charged with a criminal charge at the time, but the government cleared her name. And so her name is clear now, although she is passed away. We do celebrate on our $10 bill. So I actually have one framed in my office because it's a reminder of how resilient she was. Because of course, at any time they could change the person who's on our money, right? So I have one framed, as a reminder, not just to me, but to my children, to remind them how resilient we need to be if we're going to make change in this world.
Awesome. I think so many of us miss that we are standing on so many other people's shoulders that came before us. And it's very important that we know who put in the work before us so we can continue that journey. We have
Absolutely.
to keep on. Now, I want to move on because I have a short period of time and I keep on telling myself I'm going to make these interviews longer so I can get this all in, but we're going to try to do this. So continuing in this vein, it's very important to me that the younger generation, especially the younger Black generation, see positive role models. So I was super uber excited when I saw your book, 10 Men, 10 Stories of Perseverance, because what I see as a problem a lot of times is young kids, they see, with social media, they think making it or being successful is being an athlete or a rapper or something like that. But to see 10 successful men pursuing other avenues and still garnering success, I think that's so important to see. So tell me how the book came about. Tell me about some of the guys in it and all of that stuff in that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right, Lana. When it comes down to it, representation matters. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love me some LeBron James, we know that there's more than just LeBron James who's doing amazing things. Mm-hmm. But people like LeBron James will get the TV time, so to speak. And so you have doctors and lawyers and people doing amazing things that don't get the same type of coverage. And so our children are missing out on the opportunity of seeing some people who have walked very similar walks that they have walked, but they have been able to step into their greatness. Our children, generations are missing this opportunity to see it. And so you're absolutely right. It gave me an opportunity to put this book together. So myself and 9 other guys, so 10 of us in total, and we all speak about situations where we fell down in life, but more importantly, how we were able to get back up. So as you said, the book is New Me, 10 Men, 10 Stories of Perseverance. And we wrote this book because we really want to help people to step through their difficulty. Mm-hmm. We have men and women who read this book and they are blown away. They're inspired. They really want to make change in their life. But we wrote this for men because we know oftentimes men as a whole, we don't share. We don't share our emotion. We don't share our feelings. And because we're human beings, we have that. Mm-hmm. However, society has taught us to keep it and not share it. Mm-hmm. We tell our children, our young boys, don't cry. And so we are taught at a young age to hold in our feelings. However, when we hold in our feelings, we put out the energy in other ways. We put it out in anger, in bitterness, in trying to play women. Mm-hmm. And so, again, in this book, we have 10 of us. So 10 different stories speaking about different areas of our lives where we fell down. But again, more importantly, how we were able to get back up. So in the book, we have myself. We have one of the brothers is a doctor. We have another brother who's a life coach. We have another person who is a very successful poet, spoken word artist, mm-hmm. and just individuals, again, who just everyday brothers who are just living life, trying to be the best version of themselves, the best father, the best husband they can be in areas where we fell down. And mm-hmm. if we can take the keys and the lessons from somebody else's failures and apply it to our lives, we can use those lessons to get back up as well. And that's so important for us to learn is when we fall down, how do we get back up?
Great. And I think sometimes people don't see that, the lessons are already out there. Somebody's already went through struggles and trials and tribulations. If you listen to their story, read their story, you can learn how to avoid it so you don't go through it. You don't always have to make mistakes. You can listen and learn from somebody else's mistakes so you can avoid that pathway. But like I said, but like I said, what I really, really appreciate the role model and the examples. I just think we're really lacking and missing that in today's world, this younger generation, what they admire. I really don't think sometimes it's the best pathway for them to get towards success, so not like we were saying, not everybody's going to be a LeBron. I mean, the statistics of you being a NBA player are small, you know. So,
Absolutely. And funny thing, Lana, the odds of you becoming a brain surgeon is greater than making it
yes,
to the NBA,
yes,
right? But again, society doesn't put that brain surgeon on the front of a magazine. They don't
yes.
put them on the, leading the news, the 6 o'clock news, and they
Mm-hmm.
remain hidden. And so when our children don't see that person, they don't know they can become it. It's important for our children to be able to see a reflection of themselves in a certain walk of life for them to say, here's
I
someone
can
who
do
looks
that.
like me, who talks like me, who is from my neighborhood, who has failures just like me, a single mom or single dad like me, like I had growing up, whatever it might be. Then they can start to see themselves in that role. But
I,
until we can expose some of these people who are doing great things, but not being seen, until we can expose some of them, our children will never understand that they can do it too.
great, great. I love that. I love that. Now, there's also some more exposure that you're doing for especially young Black boys that I saw on your website. And anybody who wants a major dose of cuteness, you need to go to Jeff's website. There's this little video on there, and I just went, oh. But
I love it.
you got it opens up with the little tights in their suits, and I was just like, oh, they're
Yes.
so precious. But anyways, it's a project that you have under your nonprofit called Brothers from the Six,
That's correct. Yes.
and it's called Men in Suits. So first of all, what is Brothers from the Six?
Yeah, so we're referring to the Six. The Six is the nickname for the city of Toronto. For any Drake fans out there,
Oh, okay.
you might have heard this in his music, the Six. That's the
Mm-hmm.
nickname. And it was six smaller boroughs or cities that came together to make the mega city of Toronto. And that's how it all came to be. But again, you might hear that in Drake music. And so we are a nonprofit organization called Brothers from the Six. And it's myself and some other brothers who really just want to give back to our community. I recognize the work that I'm doing individually and they're doing individually. And we decided to come together to do bigger work and greater work and make a further impact within our own community. And so that was one of the events we did many years ago where we just got a number of brothers, old and young, babies and seniors, to come together and put on suits. We want to show a different depiction of Black males, because when you turn on the evening news, oftentimes the opening story is a homicide or a robbery of some sort. And oftentimes the suspect, the victim, they are a Black man or a Black boy. And this is something that is oftentimes seen. And so you have other people from other backgrounds looking at this and believing this is who we are as a people. That is a very small percent, of extremely small percent of who a Black male is. And so we asked for as many males to come out in the city of Toronto, to come together and to take a picture in suits and looking all fly and dapper, because we wanted to show a different look, the mentorship that we have, the elders that we have in our city, and the young men who are coming up, who are about to be the next leaders. We wanted to show them as this is who we really are, not what the news shows about us, not what the rap videos or the movies want to show about us. It's who we truly are. And that's what that was about.
That was so precious. It was so cute. I might tie it on to the end of this video. It was just so precious because the opening scene, I mean, he must have been at least, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. And he just knew he was sharp. And I was like,
oh, absolutely.
You go ahead, little man. You go ahead, little man. But you mentioned leadership. And that was one of the questions that I wanted to ask of you. In your opinion, what are your takeaways, or how important do you feel it is that youth, especially young Black youth, see Black men in leadership roles, and not only that, but servants in their community?
It is so huge. Again, it goes back to what I spoke about the having representation in those areas. Lana, if we go back a number of years, when going back to the 80s and 90s, one of the number one shows on TV was The Cosby Show and A Different World. And during that time, the lead character in The Cosby Show would always have on T-shirts and sweatshirts of HBCUs. And then, of course, A Different World, the set took place in the HBCU. During that time when those two shows were on, when regular colleges and universities were being applied for at a certain percent, the HBCU rate had gone up almost double to what it usually was. because people saw the experience. They saw what could be like if they went to their own HBCU, and everybody wanted to experience exactly what they saw in these TV shows. It's because representation matters.
Yes, it
when
does.
you see something depicted in a positive setting or a positive circumstance, then it causes you to say, I can do that as well. And if our children can be exposed to these things, again, as much as I love the NBA and the NFL, as much as I love some of the hip hop songs that are out there, we have more positive role models that are out there that go beyond just those individuals. We have Black men who are running things behind the scenes in the music industry, behind the scenes in the NBA, but we don't see them. The doctors, the lawyers, the entrepreneurs who are making millions of dollars. And it's not about the money, but it's about not seeing these people in the forefront. And so our children lose the opportunity of seeing it. And so they don't get to know that they can be it as well. So representation, as I said before, it's extremely important. And we got to expose this to our children.
True. So many avenues to be successful, and we're only shown 2 or 3 and thinking that's it. And if you don't do that, then we're a failure. And it's really devastating to the whole psyche as well. Just curious. And here is, I'm truly ignorant here. And this is probably going to be an ignorant question. So forgive me.
That's okay. We're here. We're both here to learn. That's all right.
Are there any HBCUs in Canada?
There is no HBCUs in Canada. There is none. And again, because the history of Canada is different than the history of the US. So of course, as I said earlier, we do still face our discrimination, our racism. However, it is on a different scale, different level. So no, there is no HBCUs in Canada. As far as I know, I could be totally wrong, but as far as I know, there is none. Not to the same capacity as the great ones that are in the US.
Okay, just you mentioned that, I was like, I wonder, I never really, I think the furthest we have on the West Coast, because they stop at a certain point in the United States, and there's only one on the West Coast, and that's in California, but you were talking, but anyways, I digress.
No problem.
So now, as I said in the beginning, you're just, man just doing everything, and I'm trying to pack it in. So it does not stop there, audience. He's just doing so much more for the community. This man is just amazing. You have a inspirational clothing line?
That is correct.
Family owned and operated?
It is family owned and operated. For me, everything I do, Lana, it's important that I include my young kings. I have 3 boys, 11, 8, and 2 years old. My household is crazy loud, crazy busy. I give my wife so much props for having the patience with all of us, but it's important for me to teach them the lessons that they will never learn.
She the only lady in the house?
She is the only lady in the house.
Oh, I pray for her.
We'll let her know for sure. Absolutely.
But go ahead.
Again, we speak about representation. It's important for my children, my boys. I know that they're going to get all their lessons from me. What it is to be a man, what it is to be a husband, what it is to be a community leader. And so everything I do, I ensure that they are a part of, so long as they can fully comprehend it. My younger one is, again, he's 2, he doesn't know what's going on, but for the most part, I make sure the kids are involved. And so, yes, our clothing line, again, we just, a simple tee with a simple positive word, something that we are, we do, a company that we do run, and my children are involved in it as well, because I want them to understand entrepreneurship. I want them to understand connection with people and customer service, and have the ability to create something using their own imagination and expanding on it. The truth is, Lana, is that, Jeff Bezos, who created Amazon, that's through his imagination, right? Elon Musk, who created Tesla, through his imagination. And we get to the point now, especially as adults, we're like, oh man, I'm not creative. I can't do any of that. But we're born creative. And it's through creativity that your favorite song was created, your favorite movie was created. And so it's through creativity that we can make our money, we can make a living, we can help others, we can serve others. So I'm teaching my children at a young age, like, let's create shirts, let's do different things, like help daddy with his motivational talks, like let's go out there and just change the world. And so I have my children doing that at a young age.
I love it. So many times, especially us as Black people, we just feel so boxed into a certain, destiny or a lifestyle, because that's what's told to us. And unless
Yes.
we have the Jeff Martins out here teaching the younger generation that,
Oh,
you could speak, you can write, you can do entrepreneurship. And even in that, showing like, this is how the family unit, we grow and we build together. I do a
yes.
lot of relationship counseling, speaking, and a lot of them don't have examples. So just here it is, a husband and wife team here, and we're working together with our boys, and we're showing. It's so beautiful. Everything you're doing is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. It is so necessary just to show them again the things that need to be taught. Again, there's a lot of great things that the school system will teach our children, but there's a lot of things that they don't teach our children. One thing that a friend said to me a while ago that I'll never forget is, don't give your children what you didn't have. Give them what you didn't know. And so I have used that and really taken it to another level where my children, again, the two older ones who are 11 and 8, they understand stock investments at 11 and 8 years old. They understand what a bull market is, a bear market is. They're telling me, Daddy, Roblox just went public. Let's buy some Roblox stock.
Awesome.
Like they are understanding it. And the way I see it, I'll be honest, I learned this stuff maybe 5 to 7 years ago because I just didn't know. I was nervous. I was scared. It seemed like an old rich white guy thing, right? But I conquered it. I learned it. I know it now. And now I can teach others. And so I just look at it as my children at 11 and 8 years old. What's going to happen when they're 21? What's going to happen when they're 31? Right? They can be a beast at investing because they understand the lessons today and they just build on that. And so that's what it's about for me, is giving the information that I have to help them, and not just my children, but anybody who wants to listen, any child, any adult who wants to listen, to help to change their own life.
Great. So many wrong turns we make as a parent. And one of the things that I think a lot of parents do is they don't teach their children finances, and you throw them out of the nest and they don't know how to balance a checkbook. They wouldn't know how to go turn on the utilities. We do all these other things as parents, but just to sustain themselves when they leave the house, we don't give them those tools. So it's wonderful that, they're learning how to make some money. You're just so amazing, just so awesome.
Lana, I appreciate that.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you. So this last little thing I want to talk about before I'm running out of my time, but I'm gonna hold you a few more minutes longer because I want to get, because it's right. Well, you can't see what I'm seeing, but I see it right there. You've got your placard there and it says public speaker, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about, you teach people how to do the amazing stuff that you do. You teach people how to speak, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Now this is a skill that I think everybody should learn how to do, whether or not you're going to use it or not. It just empowers you so much. But, people shaking their boots, and people think that we don't have anything anybody's going to want to say. Why do you think people really just don't embrace the whole public speaking thing? Because even if you're a parent, you're going to have to gather up the whole troops and put them in the living room and have a public speak to them from time to time. So, I mean, this is something that we should do, right?
I definitely believe that. We live in a world that makes us feel like that we blend into everybody else. It makes us feel like that we don't stand out. And even if somebody else has experienced a story very similar to you, nobody could tell it like you. Like, Lana, you are experiencing the COVID-19 situation like I am here in Toronto, but your version of it and my version of it.
No, because y'all got paid checks every month and we didn't get it. So, no.
That's a whole different conversation. But at the end of the day, we all experience things in life, but my version of it is going to be different than your version. And if we can really learn to formulate how we tell that, there is money to be made. And also you have a chance to really impact somebody's life by sharing a story. Everything we learn is from stories, from growing up to, the Three Little Pigs and Little Red Riding Hood, the stories that were passed down from generation after generation about our grandparents and great grandparents and so forth. It's all through storytelling. And so it's something that we don't really give a lot of credit to, but when you can really formulate, you can put your story together and really, use it to inspire someone, it can really change somebody's life. I'm talking about somebody who's absolutely broken to someone who's whole. Somebody who's physically, just doesn't have any money in the bank, to someone who can actually be, super wealthy. This can all happen through the way you share your story and motivating someone to want to do something about their life. And so, being a speaker has been so fulfilling to me, but teaching it has been awesome because You know, at the end of the day, at some point in time, my life will expire, but the skills can be passed on. And that's what we need to do.
Yes, awesome. And nobody would know listening to you now, because see, I watched the videos. I did my nose, but nobody would know listening to you, according to the story, that you flopped the first time you did it, right? Or you didn't feel
Very
like you.
true. Very true. Absolutely. You know, one of the things I like to say is that I didn't pursue public speaking. Public speaking pursued me, meaning that, you know, going back to what you said, I remember standing up in front of a school and my whole, you know, I was attempting to just really inspire them and to get them to jump out of their seats and scream and yell and say, Jeff, go ahead. And, you know, I went up there and I fumbled on it. I stumbled on words. I mixed things up. I forgot things. And at the end, I'm like, oh, that was a mess. But then I did have a couple of people come up to me and say, Jeff, you know, thank you so much. We really learned something from you. And I recognized that it wasn't about the screaming and yelling and the delivery. It's about the information first, the information you're passing along. And then from there, I learned the skill of public speaking, the arts of public speaking, and how to really deliver your message and use skills and tactics to emphasize certain pieces to, again, really want someone to change their life. And so since learning that, again, it's a skill that I love to pass on because all of us can do it. Even if you're not looking to be a public speaker on stage, you can use it in an interview. You can use it when you're interacting with people. You can use it in so many different ways just to get your point across. But proper communication is so huge in regards to how we're able to interact with others.
Awesome, awesome. Well, look at him now. He might have flopped that first time, but look at him now.
Let's go.
All right, Jeff. I'm going to do my random question. And then I want you to please tell everybody that they get involved or connect with you and possibly get involved with the work that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Let's see what we've got here.
Ooh, let's make it a good one.
Let's see here. I don't know. Could you give up access to the internet for a month?
I could give up access to the internet for a month because I know that I would be super productive in other ways.
Okay.
I know that there are 1,000,001 books in me.
Okay.
I know that there's 1,000,001, you know, internet courses, online courses in me. And if I give up the internet for a month, I promise you, at the end of that month, at 30 or 31 days, I'm going to hit you with about 7 books for sure. For sure. So I could definitely do that.
The legacy of Jeff Martin continues to grow. Okay. The wife and the 3 boys would probably be like, Dad, can you please turn the computer on? It's like, okay. But anyway.
Oh, for sure. They definitely would. Yeah, it would be me alone off the computer. They would definitely be on.
All right. All righty, Jeff. Please tell everybody how they connect with you, get the books and all of that stuff. Because I didn't even talk. There's another book out there that I didn't even get a chance to talk about. But, you know, hey, I tried.
You didn't just try, you succeeded. Thank you so much for allowing me on today. Yeah, if you're interested in connecting with me, hit me up, jeffadmartin.com, or just Google me, Jeff A.D. Martin, and I will pop up and let's connect because I'm always in the field of helping people to grow, to help people to become the best version of them. We live in a world where sometimes we feel inadequate, we feel that we don't matter. But all of us were born with a gift. All of us were born for a reason and are here for a purpose. And if we can live that purpose, if we can give our gifts to the world, then we can make the world better. We can help ourselves and we can help other people to become their best self because we found a way to become our best selves. So hit me up, Jeff A.D. Martin, anywhere on the internet or social media.
All of us are worthy, as his shirt says.
You really are. You really are.
Well, Jeff, thank you for hanging out with me. I really, really enjoyed my talk with you today. You're a truly a pleasure. And I just love to see people doing positive things, especially my brother. So I salute you. So keep on doing the work that you're doing. Keep on grooming the next generation of kings that you've got there. And, you know, just tell the wife that I wish her brain cells. I'll give her some of my brain cells.
Absolutely. And thank you for what you do. It's so important to get words out there, messages out there that people really need to hear. And with your platform, you are doing it. So Lana, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.
Coming up, the power of the people and an image. We're back with this story. You don't want to miss it in just a moment. It started with a single photo, and that photo sparked an idea. Use the power of a picture to demolish stereotypes. Members of the group Brothers from the Six use social media to share the stories of accomplished black men in the GTA. They also speak at schools in the city. Today, they gathered boys and men of all ages, all walks of life, and photographer Lawrence Kerr to snap their own iconic image. Take a look.
It's like turn this way. Yeah, that's good.
We're just trying to create a movement, change the stereotype of black males. I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of young black kids who are going to see this and say, wow, you know what? We have a lot of sharp gentlemen within Toronto. We have a lot of males that are looking to step up and be a part of something bigger, who's looking to take part in a lot of different things within the community. I was actually scrolling through Facebook and came across a picture of a gentleman just standing there in suits, and I posted it on the social media page, and I said, do you think this can be recreated in Toronto? And the response was overwhelming, people coming on and saying, yeah, let's do this.
We understand the power of visuals, right? And it's also a good thing for young minority males to see older black males in suits looking professional. It gives them something to aspire to.
I come out today because I hear about this thing, and I would really want to let them know that you can come from the ghetto, but you don't have to stay in the ghetto. You can be a role model to any small youth today and let them know that shooting, stabbing, and these things is not right.
For those younger than me, it helps show, there is a brighter future. So some may see it as just a picture, but there's a whole lot more at work here than just the picture.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It is beautiful. That is our show for you for this Sunday.